Hello, ladies and gentlemen. December is finally upon us. So you know what that means, right? Time to start buying video games for those friends and family who play. In this video, I will be going over as many platforms as I can to suggest titles that are worth a purchase for either yourself or somebody that you're buying for. Games in this list will not be restricted to titles that have been released this year. This is a holiday purchasing guide to point buyers in the right direction, while assisting to save a few dollars. The goal is to give you as much options as possible while respecting your time. All of these games that I'll scroll through will merit a purchase. However, it's still up to you to judge whether or not it's worth buying for that special someone in mind. So I hope you have those notepads ready, because I will be moving very quickly between games and platforms. With that in mind, let's get started, shall we? There's nowhere better to start than with the consoles. So let's quickly go over games worth checking out on the PlayStation 4 and or the Xbox One. The Evil Within 2 is a great little stealth action game that went completely under the radar. Although it's still a recent release, it might be full price depending on where you go. Definitely worth a try if you can find it on sale somewhere. The Witcher 3 is a work of art, with ginormous maps to explore and combat similar to wrestling games in regards to dodge rolling. It's incredibly easy to burn an entire day getting lost in this game. At full price, it's well worth the tag. If under 30, it's a steal. Persona 5 is probably the best Japanese role-playing game to come out in the decade, looking incredibly stylish and... Xcom 2 would be a great suggestion for strategy players. For a simple turn-based strategic RPG, it is an incredible amount of depth for developing your dudes and making you hate your life when you lose one. The expansion, War of the Chosen, adds a great deal more content to change up the metagame. Titanfall 2 came out quite some time ago, just a week apart from Battlefield 1 actually. My good friend Petronius made an incredibly good review of this incredibly underrated game. If you find this under 30 bucks, I promise it'll be one of the best first-person shooter campaigns that you'll ever play.
Holy moly, Titanfall 2 is fucking awesome.
The Wolfenstein games are also a wonderful first-person shooter type of game. That would be a great mistake to gloss over. The older entry, Wolfenstein: The New Order, is a great game with a great story, but the new one, The New Colossus, completely blows this one out of the water. My German friend, Bukenjima, can attest to that.
It's fucking awesome!
If you or someone else you know loves the Dark Souls games and hasn't tried Nioh, then this might get you in their good books. Think of Dark Souls, but with more ye olden feudal Japan, with giant monsters and a combat system that greatly rewards ballsy players. It's a fresh take on the Souls formula that's definitely worth a go. If Nioh is too much weeaboo for you, or for the person you're gifting for, then Bloodborne would be a perfect solution for the Souls player that you know. From the Dark Souls guys comes another Souls game with more HP Lovecraftian coat of paint. It's brutal and wonderful. Last but not least, Rayman Legends would be a perfect gift for any type of gamer out there. Its slick Ubi art visuals, along with its bright and colorful palette, makes it a feast for the eyes. Moreover, it's a feast for the wallet because of how old this game is in comparison to everything else I've listed. Moving on, the next console we should talk about is the ever so popular Nintendo 3DS. This handheld, although it's slowly being transitioned out of the current gaming market, still has a fantastic library for both the 3DS and the original DS that's well worth checking out. First up, we have an incredibly good game that's a remaster of an old Super Nintendo classic, Chrono Trigger for the DS. On many occasions, I have come across this legendary game still being sold in stores like GameStop for 20 bucks or so. Make sure to give it a look in your classic DS section. If you find this, it's a perfect gift. Along with Chrono Trigger, another rare DS game that you should keep an eye out for is The World Ends With You. This is one of the best role-playing games to ever grace the DS. Its touchscreen gimmicks are a core function of its gameplay, and fans everywhere have been begging for a sequel. Ending up the classic DS picks, you should keep an eye out for Brain Age 1 or 2. This little diamond in the rough is a great title to keep in your pocket for on the transit, or to school or to work, and you want some quick exercises to keep the brain active. Next, we have possibly one of the coolest games that uses the touchscreen in a unique way. The Etrian Odyssey games are a comfortable dungeon crawler game, with its core gimmick being that you draw a map using the touchscreen. It doesn't sound like much, but you get an incredible sense of accomplishment when you completely fill out a huge map on your own. There are many entries in the series, but the new one, Etrian Odyssey 5, will keep you busy. Possibly one of the best games for the 3DS, and also a best co-op feature, is Monster Hunter Generations. It's a classic formula of hunting big monsters, carving the crap out of them, and then hunting bigger monsters with newer weapons and armor in tow. The same formula is rinsed and repeated for hundreds of hours, but it never gets tiring with an incredible sense of achievement. Last but not least, we have Animal Crossing New Leaf. If you want a game to relax and unwind, this would be right up your alley. Its incredibly simple slice-of-life gameplay is perfect for short bursts of play every day, as you decorate your house, socialize with neighbors, and customize your town with expensive projects that you fund over the course of many weeks of play. Next up is the PlayStation Vita. I feel incredibly terrible for the fate Sony left this wonderful handheld gaming device. It is an incredible amount of potential, but was squandered by the high memory card prices and lack of marketing. If you do know someone who owns one, here's what I suggest. First and more importantly, a Vita owner needs a good memory card. But like I said, the more spacious memory cards of 64 and 128GB in size are incredibly pricey, but it's a necessary bullet to bite for any serious Vita owner. What would also go well with a memory card is a gift card for the PSN store. Unfortunately, brick and mortar stores like GameStop or EB Games have a lackluster video game section for the Vita, so finding the good stuff will be actually rather difficult. Thankfully, all the quality Vita games can be bought through the digital store. If I had to choose a physical copy game that would sell the Vita for anyone, Persona 4 Golden is a strong contender. It takes the original Persona 4 from the PlayStation 2, revamps the entire combat system, adds a tremendous amount of spanky new content, and will definitely keep anyone hooked for months on end. Since the Vita couldn't get any Monster Hunter games in the West, a lot of copycats have come and gone. Quite possibly, one of the best to come along and take the throne is Soul Sacrifice Delta. It's one of those rare games that you come for the Monster Hunter type of gameplay, but end up staying to keep playing and reading more through the brutal story, reviving around death and philosophy. Moving along, the Nintendo Switch is definitely a hot ticket item in the gaming market right now. If you or someone else you know already owns a Switch, chances are they'll already own the games I'm about to list. Unfortunately, at present time of recording, I still don't own a Switch. However, I'm basing my nominations off of good friends at Limited Lives. First and foremost, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is possibly one of the best open world games of all time, let alone a contender for the best Zelda game of all time. Like other Switch games following this, it's an absolute must-have. Mario Odyssey has to be one of the most innovative Mario games in recent memory. I'm certain that there are Nintendo Switch consoles that are bundled with this game. The bundle would be a perfect gift for anyone. As for a more obscure game, Mario Rabbids is certainly a weird combination. If you paid attention to Xcom 2 earlier on in the video, it's more or less the same turn-based strategic game like that. If you give it a shot, you'll come for the Mario, but end up staying for the Rabbids. Last but not least, we have the master race of gaming, PC. Now, since the majority of the games on this platform are digital only, you can gift it through Steam or purchase a gift card at any store to hook a person up with these great games. Like Animal Crossing listed above, Stardew Valley is definitely a comfortable game that you can unwind by raising your own farm. This stress-free game is loaded to the brim with stuff to do, aside from growing crops, exploring dungeons, hanging out with townsfolk, or collecting collectibles. It's a game that will leave you saying, just one more day, as you look over at the clock and see it's 3 in the morning. As for a different form of stress relief, Doom has you covered. Although this is on all current home platform systems, this is best experienced on PC by a mile. There is something incredibly cathartic to rip and tear demons into gory giblets. I highly recommend it. As for another underrated gem, Spec Ops: The Line is definitely one that gets glossed over too often. Its gameplay of over-the-shoulder third-person shooter is kinda mediocre in some regards, but the story is definitely worth the investment. Nier Automata is a game definitely worth your time, and most importantly, full of heart. It's like a child who makes you a macaroni drawing. It's trying really hard, but you can't help but love the experience. I can't say much without spoiling the story, but Nier is definitely paving the way to robot waifus. For my very last pick, would have to be one of the best role-playing games to grace Steam and PlayStation 4, Ys Origins. Again, one of my close friends, Bukanjima, made a wonderful review on what he considers to be the perfect game, and in his own words,
It's fucking awesome!
that's all I recommend for now. If you made it this far and have a suggestion, please be sure to leave it in the comments below. We're all in this holiday craze together. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you'd like to buy me a coffee and keep me sane through the holidays, please consider throwing me a few bucks using the coffee link in the description. Until next time, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.